to be live, and we are live. So, welcome everyone to another episode of the Sports Room. I am your host, Unger to the Max, coming at you with round two of previewing this Week 8 matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Cleveland Browns. The Raiders are coming into this game probably with their hair on fire after getting toasted by Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 45-20 at their shiny new home, Allegiant Stadium, while the Browns somehow, some way overcame the loss of Odell Beckham Jr., which I'm sure we will address that. And they swept the Cincinnati Bengals to win 37-34. And the Browns are now 5-2 on the season. First time they've had a winning record this early in the season, I believe, since 1994, if I remember correctly. And who was the head coach of the Browns at that time? Some guy named Bill Belichick. Maybe you've heard of him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But without further ado, let me introduce to you my two Raiders YouTuber guests, Raider J77 and do you want me to call you Darian or Spotlight Raiders Talk?
You can say either one because it says it right here. Spotlight Raiders Talk. Y'all know what it is, man.
Okay.
Either one.
All right. So we got Raider J77 and Spotlight Raiders Talk, aka Darian. Welcome to the show, my friends. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Yeah, it's going to be a good week. It's going to be a good matchup. There's a lot of key matchups here in this game. Obviously that we'll get to, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a good game.
Yes, and I'm actually wearing my superstitious Browns outfit. That's only failed me once this season. So I'm just going to start right there. Do you guys have any type of superstitions or anything that you do in preparation for Raiders games, or if you wear a certain outfit and the Raiders win, are you going to wear that outfit the next week? Do you guys have anything like that, or?
No, actually. I was thinking about finding some type of Raiders costume at Party City or something for this weekend to watch the game, but I'm just gonna be regular with it and just rock the silver and black. That's what we do. I think we got the best Halloween colors anyway, silver and black. I mean you can't go wrong with that,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have any pregame superstitions or anything like that. But I do during the game, if I'm sitting, and we're doing well, and then all of a sudden I get up and move. Right. And then we start not doing well, I'll move back to where I was sitting before, just little stuff like that. But I don't really have any regular traditional superstitions that I have to do every game.
Yeah. So in addition to wearing my superstitious outfit, I actually have a program on iTunes called NFL Follow Your Team, Cleveland Browns. And I only have episodes where the Browns win. And so I watch those in preparations for Browns games. One of which I'm sorry to say is week 6 from 2014 when the Raiders came to Cleveland and we won that game. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we came back in 2018, then y'all came to us and then we beat y'all in overtime, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I was actually at Cedar Point during that game, so I couldn't watch much of it.
Okay.
That was Baker Mayfield's first career start, actually.
What, against us?
Oh.
Yeah, because on the week before,
right, y'all played the Jets and Tyrod Taylor got hurt.
Correct.
Okay, I remember that.
Yes. Now I want to say this. I don't hate the Raiders, actually. I have a fair amount of Raiders stuff. I have a Raiders hat. I have this mini Raiders pennant. But as you can see, I have a pennant for every team.
Okay.
Because I'm just a big sports nut in general. And I have a little Raiders helmet like that. Because you can't see it, but I have like a magnetic standings board that has like every team's helmet.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I have this Raiders hat actually, and I was telling Raider Jay this before we started recording, my cousin actually was a Raiderette for a season while they were in Oakland. So,
Interesting.
So there are some games where I'm like, hey, I want the Raiders to win. So I like the Raiders a little bit. I'm not going to say like they're one of my favorite teams or something like that, but I like you guys. I'll say it like that. Obviously, I'm not going to root for you on Sunday for obvious reasons. But you know, in general, I don't find myself really rooting against the Raiders. If that makes sense.
Oh,
well,
yeah, totally.
That's the first that I've heard. Everybody wants to root against us. It seems like it's the nation. You see, like it's the nation versus everybody. Like when it comes to us, so it's just like we used to being against. So it's not
really.
I've literally had people on the freeway while I'm driving make me roll my window down to tell me to F the Raiders.
Yep.
Literally on the freeway.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. But then again, I don't drive. Yeah, I've watched a fair amount of like Raiders games this year because, you know, they showed the Monday night game when you guys opened up your new stadium against New Orleans. I watched some of your game when you guys played Buffalo, and I watched your game last week against Tampa Bay. And I watched highlights of when you guys somehow, some way went into Arrowhead Stadium and knocked off the defending Super Bowl champions. So I have a pretty good idea of what the Raiders are, but I've seen like different types of offenses from you guys in each game. Like in the Kansas City game, you guys looked like a deep passing team. But then against New Orleans, I saw you guys like throwing like the intermediate passes to Darren Waller and running the heck out of the ball with Josh Jacobs and Jalen Richard. If that's his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Richard?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
So what type of offense are you guys? Like, are you a run first team? Are you a pass first team? Are you like somewhere in between? Like, I'm just kind of, because I saw different things from you guys in each of those games. So I'm like, what are they?
Jay, would you want to go first, or you mean I can go? Because I think mine's gonna be short and sweet. I feel like our offense is just an optimistic offense where we don't have a run first or a pass first offense. We usually go with, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We go with what works. If it doesn't work, hopefully, the Raiders make that adjustment. But I think we're more of an optimistic offense when it comes to, knowing that Nelson Aguilar is reviving his career with us. And if our offensive line is playing well in the run game, then we'll establish the run until they stop it, and then we'll go over the top. So it's just I think we go off of what the defense gives us. If the defense does give us to throw the deep ball, we would take advantage of it. If they step back and they give us holes for Josh Jacobs, then they'll give it to us. I just think we're more of an optimistic offense. I wouldn't say balance. I wouldn't say run first or pass first. I just say optimistic.
Yeah. So I'd have to agree. So basically, John Gruden will come out and he'll script that first drive. And he'll script it based on the tape. So what are the opposing defense's weaknesses? And as that develops and he sees what's working and what's not working, you can kind of see him, make the adjustments. Does he stick with the pass? Does he stick with the run? But he's always going to sprinkle in some run there because he definitely believes in winning in the trenches and wearing down the defensive line. So, there is definitely going to be, he doesn't totally, you'll see some teams and, in in those first 3 drives, they'll run the ball once or twice. He'll sprinkle in a little bit more, but he definitely starts to lopside. He never really totally goes away from the run game, because that's something that he wants to make sure that he, continues to wear down the defense and cause the defense to tire out, especially the defensive line, because that makes for better, better pass protection when it comes to the offensive line. So Derek Carr has more time, to throw the ball and for plays to develop and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and you guys are going up against a team that loves to run the ball, because that Stefanski has brought that to Cleveland. Despite Nick Chubb getting injured in that Dallas game, or hopefully you've seen, we didn't go away from the run in that game. We ended up totaling 300 yards passing, 300 yards rushing, I should say, in that game. And, I think for a little bit, we got away from that. I would say even in the win against Indy, we didn't totally stick to the script. And that might have been because, the Colts had the number 1 defense in the league at the time. So we're like, okay, let's try and beat them in their weakness spot, which was passing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. You guys got 1,099 rushing yards on the season right now, so for sure.
Yeah. So does our rushing attack worry you about going up? Worry you for your defense, or are you I like our defense?
I wouldn't say the Russian attack will do any. I don't think I'm concerned about the running game. I think the most that we gave up so far was 250 yards, and that was against the Patriots. We didn't really give up. We didn't give up a lot with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, where he runs over everybody, and we only held him to 40 yards in the Kansas City game. When we came down to Alvin Kamara, rushing the ball with Alvin Kamara, we shut him down running. I think he was good. He was just a problem in the passing game with us. I don't know if Nick Chubb's coming back this week, but I think our front 7 is good as far as the run game goes. I don't think we gave up 100 yards rushing outside of the Patriots game. I don't think we did. Christian McCaffrey was the only one that got close to 100 yards with 95. So outside of that, I'm really not concerned with our front 7 with the run game. Is more of our pass rush is more of the problem than our run defense. That's just me. I'm not really concerned. I know Kareem Hunt knows this team. He played with Kansas City for 2 years. The time he was in Kansas City, he did play against us twice. But this is a totally different team, totally different front 7. And I think that our run game is pretty good. We just got to get our pass defense better.
Yeah, the running defense has actually been a bright spot on our defense. They're only allowing a 4.6 yards per run to opposing offenses. So it definitely is, a bright spot. I'm not too concerned about it. Our like Dee said, my biggest concern is the pass rush, getting the pass rush established against a team, who does throw it well if you let them.
And Baker Mayfield is mobile as well, so we was able to sustain Patrick Mahomes because he can be mobile, but Baker Mayfield can take off, so it's a difference.
Okay, so I have a little bit of a rebuttal for what you were saying, Darian, because you were mentioning how you went up against Christian McCaffrey, you went up against Alvin Kamara, you went up against Clyde Edwards-Helaire. All 3 pretty much have one primary running back. That's not how it is with us here in Cleveland, because we have Kareem Hunt that we can throw at you. Let me say it like this. If Nick Chubb wasn't injured, we would have Nick Chubb to start off, and then we can bring Kareem Hunt in. But, of course, that's not how it is. But now we can put Kareem Hunt in the backfield, or we can put Dearness Johnson or Dontrell Hilliard. So we have 3 running backs that we could possibly put in the backfield, whereas the teams you mentioned, Kansas City, Carolina, and New Orleans, pretty much only have 1 running back.
Well, Alvin Kamara does split the carries with Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray is more of that pound and ground in New Orleans. So we was able to sustain both of them at that time. The only running backs that really gave us issues that had a good backfield was the New England Patriots. And that was with Rex Burkhead and Sony Michel. Other than that, I mean, we know Christian McCaffrey had Mike Davis, but Mike Davis is not really something that was important. And then with Buffalo, they had Zach Moss, and they had Singletary. So they were splitting the carries. As far as Kansas City go, they really didn't. They had I think it was Damian Williams, if I'm not mistaken, or Jamal Williams, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But knowing that y'all don't have Chubb, I think that takes the advantage for us on the front seven, since y'all won't have Chubb this week.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but I feel like our defense is, of all of the aspects of our defense, the run defense is up to the challenge, because that's really the only thing at this point that we've got going
good on our defense.
Right. Yeah, because I've heard you guys, and you, like, I was talking with Samoan Raider the other day, and he was saying, like, no, the Raiders should not should not fire Paul Gunter until the end of the season. Although I've watched your videos, and it sounds like you guys do want Paul Gunter fired, like, at some point during the season, unless I have that a little bit off.
No, you're correct.
You're correct. And the reason why we want Paul Gunter gone, because he's putting players in positions that never played the position before. Like, prime example, we said it with LaMarcus Joyner. He's not a slot corner. He's a safety. Last week, you could have put him at safety when Abram was out, and you decided to keep him at slot corner. He never played slot corner in college. He never played slot corner with the Rams. So why put him there if he's uncomfortable and never played there before? That's my problem with Paul Gunter. He puts players in the wrong positions and don't put them at their strong suit. That's the problem.
Got it. And I feel like for us, going up against your offense, you guys kind of laid it out where you don't really have a true offensive identity. You kind of just do what's working. So, like, if your run game is what's working, you're going to keep running it. But in the passing game, you guys have good receivers. I wouldn't say great receivers right now. No disrespect to any of them, because I like Henry Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar, but I want to see a little bit more out of each of them before I put them in the category of great receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've seen from our defense is, first of all, we usually play a 4-3 style. Under Joe Woods, who came from San Francisco under Robert Saleh. So there's some credibility right there. But, which allows our defensive line, like Myles Garrett, Sheldon Richardson, Larry Ogunjobi, to get after the quarterback. But what we usually do is we take Denzel Ward, who is the number 4 pick in the draft where Baker Mayfield went 1. We usually put him on the opponent's best receiver. So, like, say we're playing Cincinnati, he'll most likely get matched up with AJ Green. Or, like, when Antonio Brown was with Pittsburgh, Ward would be matched up with Antonio Brown. So my guess is you're not going to put Denzel Ward on a tight end, because that's just stupid. So my guess is we would put Denzel Ward on Henry Ruggs and have Terrence Mitchell go against Nelson Aguilar. I see you shaking your head.
I disagree with that.
Explain.
Reason why? Because Nelson Aguilar is our leading receiver. Let's just keep it 100 there. If even no matter where you put Denzel Ward at, you're going to have another receiver get open, like a Hunter Renfrow. Now you can put Denzel Ward on a third down situation where Hunter Renfrow will get the ball. That's another thing. So even if you put your best corner on one of our receivers, we have more receivers to line up to get the ball to, and that's what I think. That's going to be our advantage, because outside of Denzel Ward, I don't know any other corner on the Browns that could cover a Zay Jones or a Waller or a Renfro. You
Right.
know, so if you try to take away, if you the Cleveland Browns, the one person that you really want to take away, and you look at it from the first 6 or 7 games, try to take away Nelson Aguilar. That's
Right.
me. But
And I'm not
they're
trying
going to go with Henry Ruggs because Henry Ruggs is fast and he could go deep. But Nelson Aguilar is the same way. So it's like, which risk are you going to take there?
Yeah,
Right.
and definitely Henry Ruggs. It's been reported. And John Gruden even talked about it in his post game interview. Henry Ruggs is a little bit susceptible to the press man coverage. So, if he it's something that he has to work on, it's a little bit of a weakness that he's always kind of had, and that's something he's going to have to develop being a young player. So I would definitely be, as a Browns fan, I would definitely be more concerned about Aguilar at this point than I would Ruggs, just because Aguilar's Aguilar's better when it comes to that press man coverage.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I'm saying Henry Ruggs is because of what I saw him do in that Kansas City game, of how he just went off with the deep pass and all that. I'm not trying to say that Nelson Aguilar isn't a capable receiver, or that Zay Jones and Hunter Renfro aren't capable receivers, because they certainly are. I mean,
Right.
I watched what Hunter Renfro did in his time at Clemson, including the game-winning catch against Alabama. So Renfro is definitely a capable receiver. It's just, for me, I feel like Henry Ruggs might have the biggest impact. That's all I'm trying to say.
That's a possibility. It's a possibility that he can have a big impact. We've seen it in some games where he flourished, and in some games that he didn't flourish. You got to think about it too. He was nicked up. I don't know if he's fully healthy. Then hopefully, just imagine if we get Bryan Edwards back. So that's another big target for this Browns defense. So we have some tall receivers, we have some short receivers, we have some intermediate, we have some deep. It's just that as far as for Ward, who will be the best matchup? And I don't know if Henry Ruggs is 100% healthy with that speed. I don't know if Ward can keep up with him. That's my only issue.
So you would put Terrence Mitchell on him then. Got it.
I would put Terrence Mitchell's on him and put Ward on Aguilar.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my biggest concern for us for the Browns right now is your guys's run defense. I mean, you guys are only averaging or allowing 3.8 yards a carry to opposing offenses. That's going to be a huge hurdle for us. My question to you, Unger, would be: so right now, the Browns are allowing 116, or have allowed 116 passing first downs. That's about 16 and a half average per game. So that's a huge, that's a big deal when it comes to the passing game. And, with guys like Henry Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar, and obviously Derek Carr, can sling the rock, and you've got Darren Waller, and you've got, Hunter Renfro. So there's quite a few guys on the Raiders offense that can take advantage of the pass coverage. So
Certainly.
What would you say is going to be what the Browns need to do to make that happen, to make it, or not allow that to happen, actually?
Right.
So from what I've seen of Derek Carr, he is a good quarterback, but it doesn't seem like he's very mobile. It seems like he can move around the pocket a little bit, but it doesn't seem like he's willing to take off and run for 3 or 4 yards. It kind of seems like, I don't want to call him stationary, but it seems like he's more of a standard pocket passer, if you will. So I would say moving Derek Carr off of his spot so that he doesn't have time to scan the field and look for an Aguilar, a Waller, Renfro, Zay Jones, all the guys you mentioned, because you guys have a very, I don't want to say you guys have a good offense that can get going if you allow them to. We saw what you did against Kansas City. We saw what you did against New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are very capable and can pull off the explosive play. And you can if you need to run the ball, you certainly can do that with Josh Jacobs. So there's a lot of different aspects to this Raiders offense. It's not as simple as, okay, just stop the run and you're good. Because Derek Carr can certainly beat you with, I wouldn't call him oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't call Derek Carr like a necessarily a deep ball passer. I would say he's better with like the intermediate to short range, where throw it to Nelson Aguilar for a 3 or 4 yard pass and watch him turn it into like a 20-yard gain or whatever, or throw it to Darren Waller for a 5-yard pass and watch him turn it into like a 15-yard gain, something like that. Do you feel like that's a fair assessment or not quite?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I mean, there's been times where Derek Carr has thrown it deep and he's, overthrown the passer. It's been too high. So I definitely would agree with that. I believe he has the ability to do it. But it's not as consistent as obviously other quarterbacks in the league when you're talking about going deep. I feel like Derek Carr's bread and butter really is, throws into the middle. He can definitely, when it comes to, crossing routes and things like that, he can definitely thread the needle. And like you said, 5-yard crossing route or 7-8 yard crossing route, thread the needle, and then the guy gets, the receiver gets, 15, 20 yards on it. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel like that's more his MO. And then, you're right. He's definitely not mobile. When it comes to getting, extending plays and extending, to first downs, or at least giving guys a little bit of time to open up. Like I saw a clip earlier of Ben Roethlisberger, and he runs out to the left, and then he comes back to the right, and then he runs out to the left, and he comes back to the right, and finally hits a guy in the end zone for a touchdown. That's definitely not Derek Carr. He has he can do it. He's got the athleticism, but it's just not. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Not a strong suit.
Yeah, he just doesn't do it very well.
It's just something that he's mobile, but he's mobile when it's need to be.
Right.
It's not like he drops back and then or you give him a play where he just rolls out from the snap, which I think it might work in Derek Carr's favor if he doesn't have to stand in the pocket as much. We really don't see his ability because of the play calling with John Gruden. Now, we did have plays that we did roll out to the left or roll out to the right. It might make him a little bit more mobile, but at the same time, he only mobiles when it's needed, when it's broken down, or if he needs to run. So he's not mobile, but he do it here and there.
Right. Which I think Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr are almost similar in that, but not quite, because if you've seen, a lot of our passes are Baker rolling out to the left or to the right, either one, on a bootleg, because it seems like he's not really comfortable just standing in the pocket like Derek Carr is. It seems like Baker Mayfield is better passing the ball on the run. So I don't know what to make of Baker Mayfield, though, because I've said this multiple times. He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where he comes in 2018. He has a fantastic rookie season. He had his ups and downs, and every rookie quarterback seems to go through that.
Right.
And then in 2019, we promote Freddie Kitchens to head coach because of the success he had as interim offensive coordinator. We bring in Odell Beckham Jr. We make all these moves. We're put on like four or five primetime games because people are thinking, oh, the Browns are going to win the AFC North. The Browns are going to, go to the AFC Championship game, blah, 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 blah. And
I was one of those people. I thought y'all was going to win the AFC North. I was one of those people.
I was not. Even though I'm a Browns fan, I'm a realistic Browns fan. I'm like, no. That's just not how it works with the Browns. If you put any type of expectations on them, they go like this. Ready? Boo! And they fall flat, which is exactly what we did last season. We go 6-10. We went 2-2 on primetime games, although it should have been 3-1 if Freddie Kitchens hadn't screwed up the offensive play calling down by the goal line against the Rams on Sunday Night Football. But Baker Mayfield just didn't look the same last season. Like, he would hold on to the ball longer and, he would jump off of his spot too soon or sometimes too late. And it just felt like maybe it was the sophomore slump. Maybe it was all the pressure being put on his shoulders. I don't know, but he just didn't look right. And now this season, Stefanski comes in, brings in a run first style where it's like, okay, Baker, you're our number one, you're our quarterback, but we don't want you to throw it more than like 35 times, let's say. And let Nick Chubb run the ball. Let Kareem Hunt do that. And then we can build our passing game off of that.
Well, go ahead, Jay. You got it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was going to say that definitely is it because even with your guys' really, really good run game, you're still averaging, 7.2 yards per pass, which is really good. So even though, Mayfield's maybe not passing it a lot, he's definitely being accurate. He's definitely, getting those completions and they're for good yards. And to be honest with you, I'm a little nervous because you guys always play better without Odell Beckham Jr. in the game.
I knew this part was going to come
So
off.
I'm like, can we get Odell Beckham back, please? Go ahead, D.
So my thing with Baker Mayfield, I feel like since he had that good rookie year, coming in and doing what he did, it's hard to say, but he felt like Johnny Manziel in his second year. He really felt like Johnny Manziel. And I'm just going to be honest with you. In regards to being on commercials, being a comedian, not taking the game seriously in his second year slump.
I hate that he's on commercials consistently.
And that's my problem with Baker Mayfield. Like, now you bring in a stern coach like Stefanski, if I said his name right.
You did.
Okay, so I have a problem with names. So don't mind me. I have a problem with names. But
don't worry about it.
Stefanski, he's very a stern coach, and he really got down to the nitty-gritty with Baker Mayfield. And I have to be honest with you that Baker Mayfield is getting better, but he does make some ill-advised mistakes that could really help our Raiders defense.
Oh, sure.
Not having Odell Beckham for the rest of the year is kind of advantage for us because our corners are not that great, and to have a talent like OBJ on the field, I was nervous about that. But you still have Jarvis Landry and all of that. But Baker Mayfield, he has to take the next step. He has to take the next step if he wants to be that elite quarterback that he considered himself as.
Right.
Take that next step. But at the same time, Derek Carr is the same way. But Derek Carr's been in the league a little bit longer. So with this game, I think this game is really evenly matched, in my opinion.
I feel like in some ways, the Browns and Raiders are almost mirror images of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you guys said you're not really a run first team, you're not really a pass first team, but a lot of what I've seen is you kind of do it the same way we do, where you try to build your passing game off of the run game. Not necessarily through the play action, but because you don't necessarily have, because even if you're consistently running the ball, that doesn't mean you have to, like, that the next pass has to be play action. You can still, pull off a regular standard, whatever word you want to use there, type of pass where it's like, okay, if you keep running it, you're going to bring the linebackers down into the box, and that opens up the middle of the field for a Jarvis Landry on a crossing route, or Austin Hooper, David Njoku, Harrison Bryant in the middle of the field. I actually think it's our tight ends that might get used more in this game, because it seems like you guys are kind of susceptible against tight ends.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have not been doing a very good job of really just pass coverage in the middle in general. It's just really not been good. Littleton, Joyner, they're not getting it done. When it comes to the pass coverage in the middle, it just looks terrible.
And I think that comes off of coaching. I think it comes off of Paul Guttner, where you have linebackers 15 yards back on a 3rd and 13. That's just not great coaching in third down situations. I feel like we did not too bad against tight ends. I think the only tight end that really gave us issues this year was Gronk, and
Right.
it was
Well,
Gronk
he's just a
and
different breed.
Travis Kelce. So, but I think against tight ends, outside of those two, we played well.
Right.
But you got to think about it. It's Gronk and Travis Kelce. That's a mismatch for any football team, no matter if you're playing against them.
Right. They're pretty much a different breed of tight ends. Right. And I'm not trying to say your defense is bad against the tight ends. I'm just saying, from what I've seen of you guys, it seems like you're susceptible against tight ends. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's pretty correct. But I still feel like if it's a tight end that's not really a big target for their quarterback, we can shut the tight end down, like at that point. But I mean, knowing that Austin Hooper is a good tight end coming over from Atlanta, I thought that was a great pickup for the Browns. But he's not a Gronk and he's not a Travis Kelce. So we can see what that might be one of the key matchups of this game is the tight end in the linebacker position. That's going to be the biggest key matchup when it comes to y'all passing game versus our pass defense,
or vice versa. Your passing game against our pass defense, because Andrew Sendejo, I don't know what he's doing on some plays. It'll be like it's like he completely forgets how to play football at times. I'm like, dude, just go tight, just go tackle the guy. He lets the receiver or the tight end or whatever just go right by him, and I'm like, you could have made a play. What the hell are you doing? What? Okay, maybe that's a bit of an overreaction, but you get what I mean.
I mean, I get it. I get it. Just imagine being a Raiders fan and seeing it. Just imagine. Yeah. We ripping our hair out that we don't have because of it.
Yeah. Which is what worries me, because Darren Waller has played fantastic for you guys. Like, it seems like out of all your receivers, Darren Waller, or tight ends, receivers and tight ends, let me say it like that, Darren Waller is Derek Carr's go-to guy. Mm-hmm. So I would say if there's anybody the Browns need to focus on in the Raiders passing game, it is Darren Waller more than Nelson Aguilar or Henry Ruggs. Again, not to say that they are not important to the Raiders, but I would say Darren Waller is the most, what's the word I'm looking for, crucial piece to the Raiders offense other than Derek Carr.
Yeah, I think that Darren Waller is a red zone mismatch for anybody in this league. They did rank him the top 5 tight end in the league. He was ranked at number 4 as the top 5 tight end. And with his body and his size and know how to get those 50-50 balls in the red zone, I think that Gruden needs to emulate that into our red zone offense. Yes, you did see it last week. You did see it in the Kansas City game, but I think it needs to be implemented a little bit more. I understand John Gruden loves to run the football, but I don't think we are a run first defense. I mean, I run first offense. I know in the red zone we are, but now it's time to switch it up. It's time to switch it up in this game and give the Browns a little bit something different that they have not seen in this game.
Right.
Because John Gruden can be, as a Raiders fan, and I think Jay can say this as well, that John Gruden can be very predictable at some sorts. he can be. So I just want him to open up the playbook and let these talented receivers, tight ends, and running backs put them in situations where they can create after the catch or can create their own. I don't know. I'm just thinking from an offensive mindset because I used to be a coach and I like to open up my playbook and try out everything. And I think Gruden, he's a little bit condensed with his playbook, and I think he needs to at least open it up a little bit more going into the rest of the season.
And we actually have a question from a viewer in the chat. He said it's from Butcher's Block and Patriots Talk. He says, Darian, would you trade Waller for defensive help or no?
No, I would not trade Waller for defensive help. Absolutely not. We do have some free agents out there that we can go out and get, and we could trade draft picks for defensive players. But even if we go out and get defensive players, me and Jay had this conversation before. Paul Guntner is the main reason why the defense looked the way it does. We have the talent. It's just that the defensive scheme does not fit. At the end of the day, we could trade for all these defensive players that they've been telling us to trade for. But is it going to fix the scheme? Is it going to fix what the coach is doing? No, it's not.
Right. Yeah, like one of the biggest problems or one of the biggest needs on defense for the Raiders right now is the free safety position. And well, you got a really good free safety on the team already, but you're playing him as a slot corner. I mean, duh. Like there's no reason for us to go out and trade or go out and sign anybody. Like D said, we have all of the talent that we need on this defense. We just got to be able to put guys in the right place. Specifically, Gunther has to be able to put guys in the right place to succeed, and it just isn't happening. So it would just be, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's just not necessary to go out and get any more. Mike Mayock and John Gruden have worked their butts off to try to build this team, and they put a lot of talent on this roster. Let's stop wasting it.
Exactly.
Jay, you bring up Mike Mayock. I was shocked when you guys hired him as your general manager. I'm like, you're hiring a TV guy to make like roster moves and decide draft picks. Like it just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, what? You're bringing in some guy who analyzes, like, who tries to guess, like, oh, this team's going to take this player. It just didn't make sense, but somehow it seems to be working for you.
Well, yeah, and that's – oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that's the thing about it is that, John Gruden and Mike Mayock have had a long relationship, not just in broadcasting, but just as football guys.
Right.
Mike Mayock is a football guy. He loves it. He eats and sleeps and breathes football. And his relationship with John Gruden and them together, where I believe Mike Mayock, falls short in his analytics. John Gruden steps in and says, "Hey, so they're kind of like a team, like a duo GM situation,
right?
Where they complement each other in that aspect. Or there's times where John Gruden's like, "Hey, let's go, pull the trigger on this guy in the draft," and Mike Mayock's like, "No, let's not do that." So there is a bit of a give and take between the two.
Right.
And I can say as far as darn, that notification just got me. I'm sorry. Because it was a lot of for the Las Vegas Raiders report, they talking about Trey and Foster Moreau and all that. Like, yeah, I don't believe that we're doing that. Mike Mayock, I love the pickup because he knows player personnel. And he does a lot of scouting on players that say what players fit where. And I think that we needed a players type of GM where you can have him and John Gruden could look at it like, listen, do you think this person fits our football team? Look at their specimen. Look at what they did. Look at their past. Look at their character. And then you can then Gruden can look at his plays, look at his style of play. Does he fit the style of play? That's why I think John Gruden and Mike Mayock can definitely form a team just because of that alone. And I think coming in from like doing path to the draft with Mike Mayock and stuff like that, I think he has an advantage in the draft of drafting players that fits what the Raiders want.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at what the
John
weather
Gruden is a terrible draft guy. I mean, he does not do well with the draft historically.
That's why we got Mayock there instead of him. So, absolutely.
So it's looking like tomorrow's going to be in the 40s, maybe high 50s, with a mix of rain and possibly snow.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
What's the wind going to be like?
Let's see. 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
At least
it's going to be fun.
You guys are going to be, in your houses watching this game at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be at First Energy Stadium watching this game. Yeah.
That's going to be cold.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't snow.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't snow. I'm on the East Coast as well, so I know what that feeling is being cold. I'm on the East Coast as well, so.
Yeah, Jay was saying that. You're on the East Coast. So why are you a Raiders fan? I meant to ask you that earlier.
Because as a kid, I used to live on the West Coast. As a kid, I used to live on the West Coast, and most of my family is from the West Coast. They lived in the city of Oakland. I lived in Oakland between the ages of like 4 to 8 at the time, and I had to live and die Raider stuff. I was born silver and black. So when I got moved back over to the East Coast with my parents, it always stuck with me since 1995. Not 95, 99. I'm sorry, since 99.
So
because at that age, I really didn't know much about football. Like I knew that I was a Raiders fan, but didn't know why until actually around 99, where I started looking up like why should I be a Raiders fan? Why my parents, but my family on the West Coast is the reason why to be a Raiders fan. And I did it, and I fell in love with the team, and I've been a fan ever since.
Yeah, I grew up here in Cleveland, so it kind of just made sense for me to be a Browns fan. They don't make it easy on us, I will give you that. I mean, we went 0-16. We go through quarterbacks and coaches and general managers like nothing. I mean,
imagine living in Philadelphia as a Raiders fan.
I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest in friggin' Seattle country, so Seattle Seahawks country. But there's a lot of Raider Nation up here, so nobody really says much to us anyway.
I don't see a lot of Raider Nation here in Cleveland. Actually, what I was doing last season, though, I think you guys will like this. I just think it's funny when I was at Seahawks Browns, and I saw people in a Packers hat or Steelers jersey. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I wrote a whole list down of for every game on the Browns schedule, because my family and I are Browns season ticket holders. I wrote down who the opponent was and what other teams jerseys or hats or shirts that I saw. When I went to the Bills game, I saw Dolphins jerseys or Patriots jerseys, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's just funny to me. Mm-hmm. So, or I went to a Browns Colts game, and I see somebody wearing an Ottawa Senator shirt. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? That's not even the right sport.
It's not the right sport. Absolutely not.
No. So I just think it's really funny. But this is going to be an interesting game. And we have two quarterbacks where I don't know if either team knows if they're necessarily the future. We're still deciding, I feel as Browns fans, whether Baker may.
Just to throw a little bit of news out there regarding the Raiders. Sorry to cut you up on your show, but I just got a notification stating that Raiders right guard Gabe Jackson was fined $12,500 for stomping on Ndamukong Suh. That is bull crap to me.
Mm-hmm.
That is bullcrap. But he doesn't get fined for horse collaring Gabe Jackson down to the ground.
What about John? John Bostic didn't get suspended for his hit on Andy Dalton.
He got fined.
Right.
He got fined, I think, about like 30 grand, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something. I thought it was like 13 or something.
Oh yeah, it was less than what Gabe Jackson was fined.
Wow.
It was less than that.
And this is why we say the NFL hates the Raiders. This is why.
And there's still no film. There's still no shot of him stepping on anybody. And then somebody said, well, Ndamukong Suh came over to and grabbed him by the horse collar to stop him from stepping on his teammate. And I'm like, Gabe Jackson was on his hands and knees when Ndamukong Suh grabbed him. So how do you step on somebody when you're on your hands and knees?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. And then John Gruden was asked about it in his press conference yesterday. And they're like, have you figured out, what that was all about? Have you seen anything about why that happened? And John Gruden's response was, have you? No, neither have I. So there's no film. There's no film of him doing that, And of all things John Gruden would know, and he's got the coach's film to watch. So don't ask me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't want to throw that news out there before anything. He didn't get suspended or anything, but he just got 12,500 fine. Yeah.
Speaking of your offensive line, though, like four of them, I believe, were out last week because of COVID, right?
They didn't practice all week, but they end up playing because they got cleared.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and then Trent Brown is activated. He was at practice today, but they're still not 100% sure if he will play. John Gruden said that they want to see where his conditioning is, considering he did have COVID-19. So they want to see where he's at as far as his his wind is concerned and stuff like that. Given the fact that it affects your lungs, so he's still questionable for tomorrow, but we'll see.
Okay. Myles Garrett is active and he will be playing because I guess he had some type of injury or something that he sustained. I don't know the full story on that, but he will be active. So you might want to, give him double coverage or something. Just a thought.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Myles Garrett is a monster, man. He's a talented player. And I think, when healthy, we have one of the best offensive lines in football when we are healthy. And if we do get Trent Brown, it's going to be a great matchup for that D line versus our offense. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. And then you got to think about it. When we have full strength, we run the ball effectively. If we could slow down Myles Garrett by running the football instead of dropping back and having him pass rush, because that's what he's great for. Myles Garrett is good for the pass rush. Yes, he can stop the run, but his strong suit is to get to the quarterback. So Myles Garrett does have an ankle injury. We do know that. So we just got to see how healthy he's going to be against our offense. We got to see how healthy our offensive line is.
Correct. Thank you for informing me of that. I actually couldn't remember what type of injury he had. I just remembered that he did have a injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there definitely is going to be some Khalil Mack scheming on the offensive line as far as the pass protection is concerned. That we saw in the Bears game last season.
Yes, which you guys got Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Abram as a result of that Khalil Mack trade. And you got Cleveland Farrell as a result of the Dallas trade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Cleveland Farrell has necessarily lived up to the hype of being the number 4 overall pick.
I say this is my thing when you get a top 5 pick as a defensive lineman. You can't expect them to make an immediate impact in your first couple of years. If you look at a lot of players that came out of the top 5 or the top 10 in defensive linemen, look how long it took for them to develop. And I feel like we're trying to figure out what Cleveland Farrell's does best. Sometimes we put him in at defensive tackle. Sometimes we put him in at D-line. And you got to think about the rotation that we have on our defensive line with Carl Nassib and Chris Smith, now David Irvin, with the Max Crosby and Maurice Hurst and Daniel Ross. And the defensive line rotation goes on and on. So with Cleveland Farrell, yes, he's a number 4 overall pick. But if you look at him in the run game and not the pass rush, he's playing up to his potential in the run game. He's getting pressure on the quarterback. He's just not emulating sacks. And people think that when you're a defensive lineman, sacks is the biggest thing on your roster. If you can just get pressure, that's fine by me. But I feel like in the run game, he has done well, but the passing game it's a development. You gotta look at it from Quentin Williams too. Look at Quentin Williams when the Jets is trying to trade him. They're not giving him a chance in New York. So you gotta think about it. Like defensive players.
Well, that's because it's the Jets.
No, it's not really, it's the Jets, but I'm just saying, like, people saying that, oh, he's not panning out in New York and stuff like that. But I bet you if he gets traded, and say if we trade Quentin Williams, and say if they trade Quentin Williams and we trade Cleveland Farrell, I bet any amount of money when Cleveland Farrell goes to a different team, he will play better.
Yeah, they're definitely not utilizing him to the best of his, of what he has to offer,
Right.
They need to be moving him around more, not just have him on the edge, but, put him on the inside too as well. I mean, the guy, what he put on, 30 pounds, 35 pounds in the offseason. I mean, the guy is bulked up and you still have him, trying to bend the corner on the edge, move him on the inside, let's move some, and hey, the addition of David Irving might be that might be the X factor. You move Cleveland Farrell on the inside, you move David Irving on the outside to be the defensive end, and we might be cooking with grease.
Right. What type of defense do you guys play? Because you guys, do you play like a 4-3?
Sorry.
Do you play a 4-3? Do you play like a 3-4, 4-5-2, or whatever?
We're a 4-4-3.
We played the horrible 4-3 defense. I think we should switch to a 3-4, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say a 4-3 defense is horrible because we play a 4-3 defense.
Paul Guttner's 4-3 defense is horrible.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Paul Guttner's 4-3 defense. Because mind you, as a coach, everybody has their own scheme in a 4-3, even though it's the formation, but the scheme and the language is different.
Correct.
Yeah, and that makes absolutely no sense to me. We run a 4-3 defense, and if you know about the 4-3 defense, one of the wrinkles is that you can move your safeties. You can move specifically your strong safety, in this case Jonathan Abram, to the linebacker position, which is really good because the guy is everywhere. He's all over the field. He's great in spying the running back and stopping, making tackles for loss when it comes to the run game or the run defense. And so you do that, but then you put Eric Harris, back there to cover both sides of the field. Like, why? Why is Joyner not back there? I don't understand in the scheme. It doesn't make any sense.
What about Corey Littleton, the guy you got from the Rams?
He's playing out of position as well. I think Paul Guttner does not have him playing his strong suit. Now, we all know Corey Littleton was good as a linebacker that covered tight ends or covered a slot. We all know that he was good for that. But you got him playing like he's a run-first type of linebacker. That is not the case with Corey Littleton. He's not a first linebacker. He's in the passing coverage. He's a passing type of linebacker. That's why you should put like Nick Kowalski in the run first, because Nick Kowalski could be a liability in coverage. He can be. But Littleton looks lost. He does. He looks lost. In a few conferences that, Jay said before, that Corey Littleton said he's just doing with the coaches telling him to do.
So kind of like Andrew Sandejo. Got it.
Exactly. So he's just saying he's just doing what the coach is telling him to do. So technically, it's not once I've heard that, it's not the player, it's the scheme.
Yeah, but I just want you guys to be aware of something. Everybody talks about our defensive line and our cornerbacks of, Denzel Ward and Terrence Mitchell. But we have guys on the back end too, like Red Wine can make plays. We acquired Ronnie Harrison, the safety from the Jaguars. He's played well for us. So, it's not as easy to pass on us as you might think it is. I just want to put that.
We're not passing. We're not passing on the Cleveland Browns. Absolutely not. I think every
hour wind.
Yeah, we're not. I won't even though that we lost, even though we played the Buccaneers, I still didn't look past the Cleveland Browns. One thing as Raiders fans, we don't look past the team. We don't, because we don't know what Raider team is going to show up that Sunday. We just don't know. We just as optimistic as the offense and the defense. Are we going to get the Kansas City Raiders? Are we going to get the New England Patriots Raiders? We don't know. As Raider fans,
I'm just saying, we're not your grandma's Cleveland Browns anymore, where it's just like, oh, we're playing the Browns. Check that off as a win. No, in all of our wins, we've put up 30 points. All 5 wins, we've put up 30 plus points, and we're undefeated at home,
which is fine. But y'all give up too many points, and that's your downfall on the defensive side.
True.
And that's the same struggles that the Raiders have. I mean, we've allowed 30-plus points in every game that we play. Right.
That's why I say this is this is like a mirror match, because both defenses give up a lot of points, but both offenses can put up a lot of points. So this is just a complete mirror match for us. But for me, I think it's more of a win. We need this win more than the Browns do.
Really,
in my opinion. Just because of our division, because the Chargers, they're trying to creep up on us with Justin Herbert being their quarterback. We already know the Chiefs are first in our division, so we're battling for that number 2 spot in our division. So
have you not seen what division we're in?
Which is understandable, but if we fall to 3 and 4, it's going to hurt us more than it will hurt y'all.
I'm not sure I fully agree with you on that one, because we're in a division with the Baltimore Ravens, who are the reigning defending AFC North champs, and they have the reigning MVP in Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh is undefeated, although the Ravens and Steelers are playing each other this weekend. We'll see what happens with that. And then you got Cincinnati, who, let's face it, they're still the doormat of the AFC North, at least for this season. I bet they'll be on the come up in a year or two, whatever, with Joe Burrow. Because I like what I see from Joe Burrow, but we're in arguably the most difficult division in football. I
agree with that, but I'm just saying, as far as us for the Raiders to make the playoffs, we are in a tough spot at 3-3 and second in our division. We're in a tough spot because if the Chargers, because if we start losing games and the Chargers start winning games, and then we get to that Chargers game and we lose, they fall into that second place. So we really have to be on our P's and Q's the rest of this season, because Justin Herbert plays good every week. We see it. It's just that they don't finish games. Just imagine if they was able to finish those games and we lose to y'all. We fall to number 3 and we're struggling to get into the playoffs. Unlike, y'all, if y'all keep winning and we keep losing, y'all will get in the playoffs before us. So we really got to be on our P's and Q's a little bit more, even though that y'all in a tough division. I think it's one of the toughest divisions in football. But right now, I think the Raiders need to win more games than have losses, in my opinion.
So
I feel like that's the case for everybody, though.
Yeah, Unger, what do you think the Cleveland Browns have to do to make the playoffs this year?
That's such a difficult question to answer, because we brought in a new head coach, we bring in a new general manager, no training camp. I had no idea what type of offense we were going to have, even though I know Stefanski was like a run-first style offensive coordinator from his days in Minnesota. But, we go out and play like absolute garbage against Baltimore. I would argue we didn't even show up like at the stadium. That was like a high school team in disguise or something. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. But, we just got to, as we've gone on this season, we found our identity. Like, we found out through that Cincinnati and Washington game, like, okay, we need to run the ball to really establish our offense and give the defense time to recover so they're not just coming right back out on the field after 3 incomplete passes or whatever. So if we just keep sticking to our identity and running the ball, not letting Baker Mayfield pass the ball for more than 40 times, let's say, I think we're in a good spot.
So do you think that it's possible for the Browns to make a wild card push?
Yes, I do. Do I think we can make noise in the playoffs? That depends on who we get matched up with. Last I checked, if the playoffs were to begin today, we would be in Kansas City, so not a favorable matchup because you don't want to blitz Patrick Mahomes. He will destroy the earth if that happens. So we would probably get smoked in that game because we just don't have an offense to keep up with Mahomes. But, even a playoff spot would be considered a success here in Cleveland. It's better than what we've had. So, because, we threw a freaking parade when we went 0-16. Like, that just shows you how low Browns fans' expectations are for this team. Like,
what?
We threw
that's an eye opener for me. I don't understand the point of throwing a parade for 0-16 team.
Be my guess. You knew you were going to have the number 1 pick in the draft.
I have no idea. I have no idea. It was a complete joke or something. I wish I could give you the reasoning on that.
Crazy.
Oh, it's Just Blaze 142, the guy that actually gave me the nickname of the Max. How are you doing? You guys got a tough game yourself in Charm City against the Baltimore Ravens. Go check out his channel. Anyway, so do you guys want to do score predictions before we wrap up, or is that not really your style?
No, we can do score predictions. Knowing that you're the home team, that we could go first. We coming into your town. We coming into your home, So, Jay, you want to go first? It doesn't matter to me. I'll go if you want me to go.
I'm gonna say the Raiders take it. But I'm gonna say it's gonna be 28-24 Raiders.
I say the Raiders take it, but I think this is going to be a defensive game due to the weather. I say the most I will say is I'll say 21-17 Raiders.
So you think Paul Gunter's defense is actually going to be effective?
Yeah, because I think the weather is going to play a factor in that.
That's fair.
I have a feeling that
if it was like 70 degrees in Cleveland and it's clear skies and no wind, it'll be more of a high scoring game. But since it's going to be wet, there's supposed to be some rain, there's supposed to be some snow. Defense is going to be slipping, and it's just going to be a nasty game. So 21-17 seems like it's more relatable to me when it comes to them type of weather games.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Josh Jacobs is going to get 3 touchdowns. That's my crazy take for the game. I think Josh Jacobs is going to end the game with 3 touchdowns. Carr's going to have 1 passing touchdown, which is going to make it 28. I do feel like the Browns are going to get at least 2 rushing touchdowns, possibly 3, and then they're going to get one of those is going to one score is going to be a field goal. So that's definitely because it's going to be a ground and pound game. If the weather is what it's supposed to be, it's going to be a ground and pound game. The run games are going to go crazy on both sides. and it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun.
Can somebody get this guy, whatever his name is, Gwareb, because he's just a Raiders Debbie Downer. He gets on my nerves. Like Gruden won't have his players ready as usual. The Brown would run the ball down our throat. You must have forgot that we only allow 250 yards rushing against the Patriots and 95 yards against the Panthers. Other than that, everybody else did not have 100 yards rushing on us. So I don't know where you get this narrative of they're going to run the ball down our throats where we defend the run really well. I'm sorry to do this on your show, but he's just a Debbie Downer when it comes to when he's a Raiders fan, but a Debbie Downer. Like he just don't seem like the Raiders could do nothing good at all. It sucks.
No, don't worry about it. My only counter to like what you guys are saying about the Raiders defense, and sure, you guys haven't held or haven't really allowed 100-yard run. Or you get what I'm trying to rusher. Thank you. Tripping over my words. Sorry. My only counter would be: have you really played a run first team though, like what you're going to see on Sunday? I would argue. Yeah, but New England doesn't quite have the style of running backs that you're going to play on Sunday.
We were able to stop Cam Newton from running, and he's dangerous. We shut him down. So
right.
There's a possibility, like I said, I don't think that we're going to completely stop the run, but I think that we're going to do well enough in the run game to slow them down. Given the weather, I don't think the pass game on either side of the ball is going to be super. They're not going to be airing it out. So I do feel like that. Yeah, like I said, I feel like there's going to be quite a few rushing touchdowns in this game because I feel like both teams have really, really good run games. So
I agree.
We're by no means the Raiders will by no means stop. The run of the Browns and vice versa. The Browns are not going to be able to stop the run of Josh Jacobs and Booker, Jalen Richard. I mean, I really feel like I said, both teams know the weather's coming. They're going to be preparing. They're going to be scheming for a lot of in the trenches, hard nosed, physical run play.
You know what the annoying part is that today here in Cleveland, it's like nice weather. It's sunny. It's not extremely warm, but it's mild. And it's like, of course, there's snow coming in tomorrow. And it's just like, I feel like Mother Nature's drunk here in Cleveland or something. I don't know. I don't know. But in terms of my score prediction, somehow, some way, the Browns are going to score 30 because that just seems to be their trend in their wins is to score 30. I mean, we scored 37 against Cincinnati. We scored 32 against Indy. We put up 49 against Dallas. I don't remember what the score was for the Washington game or the first Cincy game, but we put up 30 points in all of our wins. We're undefeated at home, so somehow the Browns are gonna,
I'm waiting for you to finish. I didn't mean to do that. I'm waiting for you to finish.
So for just on that basis, and you guys are absolutely right. You haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher. You've played some good running backs like a Edwards-Helaire, like a Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, Alvin Kamara. But I feel like none of those teams, even New England, none of those teams really have a run it consistently down your throat type mentality like what the Browns do, where it's like we pretty much rely on the run to set up the passing game. And because of that, I'm going to say the Browns win actually a high-scoring game, despite the weather, 30-26.
Right on.
Okay.
Again, not to discredit what the Raiders have done. I'm just saying I feel like you guys haven't quite faced the style of run run mentality that you're going against on Sunday. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so you said that the Browns put up so many points against teams. If you name all those teams, there's only one team that had a good defense out of all the teams that you played, outside of Baltimore, because Baltimore had a good defense and they end up shutting y'all down. The Colts
Same
had a
with
good
Pittsburgh.
defense. Oh, it was Pittsburgh, not Baltimore.
Both.
Oh, both teams. So y'all. So out of the teams that you named, it was Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Indy was the best 3 defense that y'all played within 7 weeks, correct?
I would include Washington in that mix.
I wouldn't include I wouldn't include Washington in that mix. They do give up a lot of points as well in Washington. But I feel like you put up 49 points against the Dallas Cowboys, which is the worst defensive team in football. They're worse than us. So I think anybody can put 49 points up on them.
Right.
The Colts, they you could put up 30 points on the Colts knowing that they are a good defense, but any team could do that as well. So I feel like out of the teams that y'all did play, that y'all struggled against, had good defenses. So if Paul Guttner could go look back at that tape and see what he did to stop Baker Mayfield and his offense from scoring, then we'll be successful. But it's Paul Guttner we talking about.
Right. So one more thing. You brought this up earlier, Jay. Once OBJ left the game against Cincy, it's like Baker Mayfield came back to life. It was like he was resurrected from the dead. Nice Halloween reference because today is Halloween. Happy Halloween to everybody.
You too.
Hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy. But, somehow Baker seemed to wake up after OBJ went out, and he ended up throwing for 5 touchdowns. Now, again, I don't want to say OBJ is a bad receiver or anything like that, because he's obviously not. We saw what he did, for example, making that amazing one-handed catch against Dallas when he was with the Giants. But maybe having that superstar receiver somehow messes with Baker's mindset where it just doesn't work. I don't know why there's a miscommunication, but they're just for some reason Baker just seems to play better when OBJ is not on the field. And the numbers that I've seen absolutely support that. His passing game goes up, or his completion percentage goes up. He seems to get the ball out quicker, where it's not, instead of looking like, oh, I got to force this ball to OBJ, it's like, oh, Jarvis is open on a curl route. Let me hit him for that. It's like it's like when OBJ was out on the field, it's like Baker was almost programmed to only look for OBJ, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. is a great football player, but he's a terrible teammate. So he's a diva wide receiver. He always wants to get the ball. If he's not getting the ball, he's not putting his numbers up. He's pouting and throwing a fit and getting into fights with, kicking nets and things like that. So
and losing that fight against the net.
Exactly, yeah. And getting knocked out by the net. So, when you have a diva wide receiver like that, and I think that the Raiders suffered a little bit when it comes to Amari Cooper.
I thought you were going to say Antonio Brown.
Well, obviously, yeah, definitely the Antonio Brown debacle. But yeah, so I think that in that situation, when you feel like you have a star wide receiver who's a diva who is going to cause issues if he doesn't get his way, absolutely that it's football is as much mental as it is physical, and in some ways, in some instances, even more so mental than physical. And so if you're constantly worried about your star wide receiver and making sure that you're appeasing him and keeping him happy, it's going to slow you down in your progressions. If you're just looking for, obviously the progressions. You've got the first wide receiver, and then if that option isn't there, you go to the next one and the next, and you go through your progressions. Well, if you're constantly worried about, okay, this is OBJ's play and he's not open, you're hesitant as a quarterback. Obviously, it seems Baker Mayfield is, to go to your next progression quickly and naturally. Because
Exactly.
You're like, okay, well, maybe he might do something, or is he going to do something, to open it up? And who knows what's going on in the locker room and in the huddles, OBJ could be going back to the huddle being like, bro, if you'd have just given me just a couple more seconds, I would have been open, like who knows, so
Right.
definitely when it's unselfish and, you're just going to the guy that either has the hot hand or is the one getting open that has the best matchup. That is so much better, for a team than some guy who's like, you always have to throw me the ball no matter what. Just put it up and I'll get it, that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Jay said it on the money, so I really don't have no response for that. He took the words right out of my mouth when it came to that.
And I'm not saying Baker's necessarily going to repeat that 5-touchdown performance, because that's somewhat difficult to do. It was just, perfect timing.
Right.
But, for some reason, maybe it was also a mentality thing, as I mentioned earlier, where it's like OBJ kind of took the spotlight from Baker, and Baker's like, no, I was the number one pick. Like, Cleveland, you need to believe in me. I'm your quarterback. Like, I'm your guy. Like, why are you following this guy? Like, he hasn't been here. He hasn't been here as long as I have.
OBJ been like that since he was in LSU. It's no different.
I think LSU suspend or like prohibited him from being with their program for like a few years or something, if I remember correctly.
Because he gave money to players after the national championship game and it was caught on camera.
Gotcha.
So OBJ, he's been like that since college. He was like that and he was like that with the Giants. So like that, his reputation is going to kill his career. The boy is so talented, but his reputation is going to kill him because he's not a we. He's an I. You get what I'm saying? He doesn't. He worry about his catches, about what he have to do, and not worry about what we got to do to win the game.
Correct.
That's going to be the downfall of his career.
Correct. And one other thing is, we used trick plays to get OBJ the ball. Like, we used a couple trick plays in Dallas. Obviously, at least, I don't want to say obviously, but my guess is the Raiders are probably going to watch film of those trick plays, whichever one you want to talk about. Maybe it was the pass that Jarvis threw to Odell early in that Dallas game, or the end around where the Cowboys should have gotten Odell for like a 15-yard loss, but he ended up turning it into a touchdown. So, like, we're not going to be able to use those trick plays, I don't think, the rest of the season, because teams are going to be like, oh, the Browns like to pull off these trick plays.
I don't know. I mean, you never know. You never know with Stefanski when you come to think about it. Like when he had, when Adam Thielen was out, when he was in Minnesota, when Adam Thielen was out with a few injuries, he still used some of them trick plays with Stephon Diggs. So he might just use some of them plays with the younger receivers. But I feel like when it comes to trick plays, we've seen that twice a year with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think we know how to defend the trick plays when it comes to that aspect. But I wouldn't be surprised if I see trick plays even without OBJ this week.
Yeah. By the way, the only reason my recording thing got dark was because I had to close my blinds because there was sunlight coming in. So
no, it's good. Yeah. It's all good.
Also, these are actually since the Browns don't give out physical tickets anymore, these posters are like my quote-unquote tickets, because I'm one of those guys that I have like books full of tickets from games that I go to and stuff. So these are like, I could take one down actually. This is the one from against Pittsburgh. On the side, oh wait, that's backward. That's upside down. There we go. You can see like there's the Steelers roster, and then on the other side, it's the Browns roster. So
that's like the programs that they give out at the field.
Yes.
Okay, I figured that it looked like the programs they give out.
Yeah, and because the Browns don't give out tickets anymore, I just collect those.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Raiders don't have physical tickets now, do they?
Not that I know of. I don't think we do.
I don't think so. I know they sent out like big packages to everybody, all the
season ticket holders.
The season ticket holders, but I don't think there was anything. I mean, obviously, they're not having games this season. Or I mean, they're not having audience attendance. So I don't think they actually gave them physical tickets.
So we got a question here. Are the Browns a very penalized team? They were last season. I mean, in that opener against Tennessee, I think we had like 18 penalties or something like that. I don't think we're as penalized this season nearly as much. And that has a large part to do with Stefanski, who's brought in that stern kind of coaching style, like what you were mentioning earlier, Darian, actually.
Yeah, I was actually mentioning it earlier. At the end of the day, this game is going to be something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to this game. We will be doing live play-by-play and reactions of this game tomorrow, which will be 1:00 my time, which is on the East Coast. So I think this is a 1:00 game on the East Coast.
Correct.
And for Jay, it'll be more of a morning game for him because it is an early game.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. So make sure you know
4:00 game.
Yeah, I wish it was a 4:00 game too, because I love to watch the 1:00 games. The 1:00 games are so great; they'd be so better than the 4:00 games, in my opinion. But we're gonna be a part of that history of the 1:00 game, so it's going to be awesome to see. But I love this matchup, man. I love this matchup. Jay, what you got to say about this game? I'll be back, y'all. Give me a second.
Oh, I think it's great. I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game. You know, if the weather does what they say it's going to do, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch because it's going to be very old school. A lot of run plays. You know, a lot of guys just battling it out. You know, and so I think it's going to be fun. I'm really excited about it. We're definitely going to be, you know, jumping in and doing the live play-by-play for it. That's going to be a lot of fun, the live reaction. So
I may check in on that but I'm not going to be able to as much because I will be at
You're going to be at the game. Yeah, you'll have the even more live reaction. So yeah, definitely come check that out on the Spotlight Raiders Talk channel. YouTube channel, and then I'm also going to be streaming it on the My City My Game channel. So definitely go check that out. You know, both of our channels, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know, if you like
anybody that came over from the Spotlight Raiders Talk, make sure y'all subscribe to this man's channel.
Yes, do that.
He really did reach out to us to get this down, and we finally was able to get it done. And talk about this week 8 matchup. He's grinding hard, so Raider Nation, make sure y'all subscribe to him as well.
Yes, I am a Browns fan, so I primarily make Browns related videos, but I also make general content videos. I'm a big UFC fan, so you're gonna see a lot of UFC videos from me. I do a lot of Cleveland Cavaliers stuff because I love the Cavs. They are my pride and joy. I wanted to go to Cavs games even when LeBron left to go to Miami, which was horrible times here in Cleveland, but I still wanted to go to what was then Quicken Loans Arena. Now it's called Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which makes no sense. But anyway, so I hope you guys had as much fun doing this as I did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you guys interested in doing a post-game video?
I'm trying to look at the Penn State and Ohio State game at 7:30 today. So I really want to enjoy my college football Saturday before any, post games or stuff like that. If I do something, I might do something late at night. I might do a Madden matchup where the Raiders take on the Cleveland Browns. I might do a Raiders matchup on the Spotlight Raiders Talk channel. I'm about to start doing that on a weekly basis for Madden 21. Since I have it, why not put it up there for weekly matchups? So that's just something new that I might bring to the Spotlight Raiders Talk. But me and Jay going to talk about that.
All right. I don't mean direct immediately after the game. I just meant like sometime during the week if you want to try and set something up.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know we do our post game live right after the game is over. If you want to set up something during the week, before, probably that Monday or that Tuesday. That's fine by me. Because I know he likes to do his reaction Tuesdays, and I know Monday Night Football is on. So whatever recap that you want us to have us on, just let us know. We'll come on.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'm down for that.
And you said, Darian, you're gearing up for Ohio State, Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say it like this. We are
Ohio State. But it's like I really don't care. I like Ohio State. Don't get me wrong, but dude, I know we are Penn State. I was just playing around. I know we are Penn State, but at the end of the day, only reason why I said Ohio State because the way Penn State lost the game last week, I was kind of mad how they lost the game last week. But I'm over that now. So hopefully Penn State could definitely get the dub against Ohio State.
Yes, even though I know this is going to kill a lot of people, but even though I live here in Cleveland, I'm not an Ohio State fan. I am a Penn State fan.
What? That is interesting. That is interesting.
Okay, so I feel like I need to explain myself. As my computer is getting kind of low on battery. But I just like how Penn State was able to rise up from the ashes after everything that they went through with, the whole scandal and Jerry Sandusky and all that. And I'm not endorsing what Jerry Sandusky did by any means. No. I'm just saying I love how Penn State has been able to rise up from the ashes, seemingly get over it, and they become one of the top teams in college football. So because of that, that's why I'm a Penn State fan.
I wish the Raiders could have got Miles Sanders or Saquon Barkley out of those Penn State running backs. My God, just imagine if we had one of those. But Penn State all the way, man. Penn State all the way.
Wait, I have one more question before we go, just real quick. I wish we had drafted Derek Carr in that draft. I think that was the 2014 draft, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it's the 2014 draft.
Instead, we took
his 7th year.
Yes, you're right. So this is I wish we had taken Derek Carr because instead we took Johnny Football. Yeah.
We all know how that worked out.
It worked out.
Tell Baker Mayfield to stop doing this too when he scored touchdowns. Please tell him to stop doing this.
Okay. I'll when I see Baker Mayfield on Sunday, I'll talk to him about that.
Okay. Because that's a bad reputation for y'all.
Yes. Yeah. I just hope Baker Mayfield is the quarterback. I'm just hoping because we could have gotten Carson Wentz. We could have gotten Deshaun Watson. We could have gotten Patrick Mahomes. And I'm just like, why aren't we taking any of these guys? So, Baker Mayfield, if you're somehow listening to this, please be the quarterback we need. Please.
Yo, Smig says you should run on the field and get ejected.
That would be hilarious.
No, I'm not going to do that. No. So, if you have nothing else, I've got nothing else. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you like what you saw, give that like, subscribe button a big punch to the face like a UFC fighter, and punch that like button. Until next time, I'm Unger to the Max, and we'll see you on another episode of the Sports Room. Thanks again to Raider J and Spotlight Raiders Talk, aka Darian, for joining me.
No problem, man. Thanks for having us.
Thank